Ellis, welcome to the Big Lad podcast. How are we?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. Thanks for having me on as well.
I know it's been a while. We should have got this done probably closer
We probably should have, to be
to when
fair.
it happened. But we're obviously going to be speaking today about how you went from a completely ruptured ACL to doing a double marathon.
Yeah.
So I guess let's start back at the beginning. How exactly did you tear your ACL, and sort of what went through your mind, like when you realised how serious it actually was?
Yeah. So to start with, it probably stems back to 15 years ago when I was 15 years of age. I was playing footy and was through one-on-one with the keeper, chipped the ball over the keeper, and the keeper went directly into my right leg, which is that I broke my femur, broke my tibia, dislocated my foot, all in one tackle. Yeah, I was in a cast from my hip all the way down to my toes for 9 weeks. Um, that was in when I was playing against Altrincham reserves. So I had that when I was like 15. And at first, one of the surgeons that was working on my leg was like, "You'll never play football again." Then we followed up with about a month later was the operation went really well. It's probably going to be around 18 months. But you know what I'm like now. I was back playing again 5 months after I'd had that injury, where I had one leg skinnier than the other. I was told I was running very differently, which was when the next physio session I had, the physio came right up into my face and told me, "Are you still planning on playing football? Stick to this program." And I said, "I'm going to play football." Because I was a young kid, enjoyed it. So he said, "Don't come back," basically. So that's what happened. I played football. So another physio later after I had a conversation with my dad, and he basically said, "If you carry on now without doing proper rehab, you'll have issues when you get older."
Yeah.
Which I passed off and said I was at a good stage at playing football. I felt like I was getting back, but obviously I wasn't quite right. So ever since that point, I'd always used my right leg quite weaker and that I'd have issues in the knee. I never sort of got it properly looked at or delved into it. So that brings us around to sort of 2 years ago now, over 2 years ago, and playing football. I think the first one was running sort of through on again. And the guy slid in from the side, and my foot was planted, and it was knee on knee, but it was front of his knee against the side of the knee.
Okay.
And it sort of twisted. And at that point, it took all the wind out of my sails, was to sort of breathe and catch my breath. And it was a sharp pain in my knee. Didn't know what I'd done at that point. It just sort of ballooned up, sort of as injuries do. It ballooned up, gave me a real sort of ache for a couple of weeks, and again, didn't get it looked at. And then we had another big game about 3 weeks later against another team that was for the league. So I just strapped my knee up, and I was like, right, I'm going to give it a go, see how we get on. And then that was the point where I was a sub and I came on, and it was a wet, damp day. Again, probably shouldn't have been on. And it was no one near me. Flipped it, and then as I got to turn, I remember it being almost like a shin pad noise.
Yeah.
And that was when my knee cracked.
And nice.
Yeah.
It's not a knife at all.
No. And I don't know whether I was in shock from that noise, but it just felt like pain. It wasn't like I wasn't screaming painful, but I knew I'd done something, and I knew then every time I put it down, I feel it wasn't right.
Yeah.
So I just had to then couple off. And then I sat down for a good 10, 15 minutes and walked to the car. And then that was when I knew I'd done something bad and I couldn't really drive properly then. Trying to get home was quite a bit of a nightmare. And that's at the point then where I think that lasted a good day or two. There wasn't loads of swelling though.
Yeah.
But it really was painful. And
when I did mine, it was probably swollen for maybe like 2 or 3 days, and I was walking normal again within 10.
That's it.
So like, it's not always immediately like clear what has actually happened with it.
No, that's it. And like you say, like I was walking round on it, still felt something.
Yeah.
It was more going up and down the stairs.
Yeah. Well, I'm having that issue still now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
My latest knee injury.
we've got bad knees between us, to be fair. But yeah, so it was going up and down the stairs, and I was like, this really isn't right. And then I'd obviously seen you'd done it.
Yeah.
I spoke to our good friend Mark, who'd obviously he'd done it twice in both knees.
That is one of the most unfortunate stories I've ever heard.
Oh, that's horrendous.
Doing one, coming back, and then the very first game doing the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that. So after I'd had a bit of a discussion with him, I understand the thing of Googling stuff, and they show you that test online that you can do with your knee.
I like the test.
Yeah. So I had Chloe doing that, my partner. I had Chloe trying to do that, and yeah, it just didn't feel right. So at that point, fortunate I was able to then go and get it checked and get quite quickly into an MRI, and that's when it came back with all those ridiculously long detail of what you've done and what things you've torn, and it never makes for nice reading, to be fair.
Yeah, I had the wax test, and they're not exactly clear either, because when I did mine, they turned around and said, I'm 95% sure that you've not tore your ACL. Like, everything's feeling strong. Went for an MRI, came back and went, yeah, you've completely ruptured it. I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
We've gone from 95% sure I've not done anything to, yeah, it's completely torn.
That's it. I think the knees are so complex in the way that they're set up and the movement and stuff they do. Even the professionals struggle with it at times, and I think there's only the MRI stuff that brings that to light.
Going through the same, because I had a pivot shift back at the end of October. He's doing all the tests on me, saying everything feels fine, you're not jumping in pain where you probably would if it was like a meniscus tear. And I said, well, I've had this before where I've been told nothing's happened, and then I've gone and got an MRI and my ACL's completely blown out. So I've basically tried to convince him to get me another MRI, which is what I'm waiting to go for now, because it's 3 months on, I think, and I'm better.
Still pain?
Not necessarily pain, just awkwardness.
Right.
Awkwardness going up and down the stairs. I can do near enough any exercise. I've done one jog on the treadmill, but going down the stairs is my main issue at the moment. I think you keep saying it's because there's a bit of swelling on it, but yeah, I guess an MRI will tell me.
That's it.
The full details.
That's it. It's class what the MRI can do, and then when you get that level of detail back, it gives you options then.
Yeah.
Have next protocols and stuff.
But the thing I found baffling was, because I've been for 2 MRIs before. When I've called up, I've gone to a consultation, they've sent me for an MRI. This time, I had a video call, he had me doing like a couple of different exercises, and then went, we don't want you sure any unnecessary MRIs or radiation. Like, you've seen my last
Yeah.
It's literally like a piece of paper long with all the issues wrong with it. So I'm a bit surprised.
Yeah, that's it.
But
MRIs are fun as well. For someone that can't sit still, struggled today.
Yeah, you get a bit twitchy, don't you?
Yeah, bugs as well. And you just end up dancing to music and tapping your toes and stuff. I was so lucky I didn't move.
I find it quite relaxing though at the same time. Like, I don't know what it is, the constant like noise. And I fell asleep nearly twice.
Did you?
Yeah, and at one of them, they come over like the radio and went, George, is everything all right? It's like, yeah, still awake. Yeah.
I just couldn't fall asleep just because of the fact that I can't remember. I think I had a Linkin Park on request. I was proper head mashing at that point, just trying to get through.
Most relaxed. I should have gone for some smooth FM.
I probably should have. And I don't know why I picked that. I think I was just come back from the gym, so I was still listening to it. Like, yeah, that's it. Obviously, stayed completely still, and I struggled with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. The whole process is long, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So you obviously got it later on.
Yeah.
What was the toughest part of that recovery process then? Was it physical pain? Was it the mental battle of not being able to do anything? Like, what was the toughest part of it?
When I've spoken to other people that have done it, so I'd obviously been spoken to people that had the surgery and stuff, and a lot of people, the mental battle, a lot of the people, it's the pain and stuff. I'd been through a long-term injury beforehand.
Yeah.
Obviously, when I was younger, as long as I did with this one, but I dealt with that, and mentally, I found myself quite tough because of the fact that if I can get back into a routine, if I have a routine to focus on, it's not too bad. I think the hardest bit for me was the first, because obviously I'd had my MCL done as well, restructured. I had to be in a complete splint first 2 weeks where I couldn't really do any movement, even though that's the prime time that you should be doing the movement. So that was really difficult, knowing that I was losing time. It was a bit of a mental battle with that. Obviously, the sitting still and stuff. I think for me, it was the mental battle of all the years of trying to build my strength and not necessarily size in my legs, because I've never been bothered about the size. I had decent sized legs. To see that shriveling away, not only just on that leg, on the left leg. Yeah, it's really tough. It's really tough because a lot of people that go to the gym anyway, there's probably dysmorphia type stuff. That for me was really tough because I know it can come back, but it's dealing with that. Yeah. But I enjoy the whole process of it because, like I say to you, when I have something to focus on and I have a routine, I have a structure, perfect for me.
I think we're pretty similar in that sense that we've both got some sort of undiagnosed ADHD.
It probably is.
Where we need like
yeah. I at the moment, because I'm sort of dieting and getting back into the gym and stuff like that. For me, the hardest bit is weekends.
Yeah.
Because I get out of my routine. Yeah. Whereas normally when I'm working, I go to the gym, eat my breakfast, we set meals at set times when I book it into my diary and stuff. And then weekends that goes out the window a little bit. So for me, that whole ACL bit, the hardest bit was seeing sort of the legs and the muscles appearing and struggling the first couple of weeks of not being able to do much. And then the second hardest part is when you're starting to get to a good position, where you're starting to feel it coming back and stuff, knowing that although you feel good, you still have to stick to that rehab plan. Even when I got back jogging, we both know jogging's fine, but it might be the twisting and turning.
Yeah. I've never had an issue doing anything in a straight line.
No.
I've done tough mudders, which you would think potentially would cause some issues. Straight line, no problem.
Yeah.
As soon as you start changing direction, you come with issues. And it's funny you say about keeping up with it. I think that's where I've gone wrong with this injury, because I was playing football all the time.
Yeah.
Physically couldn't do 2 or 3 leg sessions a week.
No.
To keep on top of it.
Yeah.
Because it's just too much.
Yeah.
And then it starts affecting how you play on a weekend, and you're likely to pull a muscle. So I think not necessarily the strength. I've still got strength for my legs, just not keeping up with that.
Yeah.
When I've gone to change direction, it's 4G as well. Doesn't help anything.
No.
So if anyone doesn't know what a 4G is, it's fake artificial grass with rubber pellets on.
Yeah.
And as soon as you put your boot on it, there's no twisting. So as soon as you try and change direction, instead of it going through your foot on the ground where the grass would naturally give away, it goes straight through your joints. And that is basically every time I've done my knee. Never been through a tackle. The first time that initially caused it was a tackle. I actually never got it looked at because I was only like 20.
Yeah.
And I was having like a really good game. The right back just had enough, went straight through me. This whole weight went either side, so essentially scissored around my knee. I've never felt pain like it, but I just thought it was like, I don't know, I twisted knee. And then I had like week after week after, because it was like Easter or something. And then we had a backlog of games. We played 10 games in 20 days. Played every single minute and had one slight issue, and that was it. And that was like the last kick of the game.
And even then, although you felt all right, you could be doing yourself more damage. Yeah. Because, like I say, the knees are so complex. It's hard to see that.
Yeah.
You don't feel it or see it.
Well, that's it. So 4 to 5 years later, when I did it fully, when I actually went and got it looked at, and he said, 95% sure we've not done anything. Got the MRI, and he said there was basically none of it left anyway. So it was like holding on by a few strings.
Jesus.
Essentially, I'd done it.
Yeah.
Near enough. Didn't know. And then wiped the last bit of it off.
Probably your muscle that you put around it that's kept it there.
Well, so he said, so why did you say 95% I've not done anything? He said, so if we look at your MRI, you've got really big hamstrings from going to the gym.
Yeah.
That's essentially acting like an ACL.
Yeah.
But, right. Okay.
So right. Been covering it.
Yeah.
That whole time.
Exactly.
Mad.
Yeah, it's just mad. Acting as an ACL the whole time, like compensating for it.
But it's so hard because I don't know how you ever get around it. If you feel all right, then
not to go.
Like I say, I knew that I wasn't 100%,
Yeah.
went before I did, but I'd been out running. But I'd not been out twisting and turning running.
Yeah.
Done a couple of drills,
Mm.
and like I said, I didn't feel any pain. It was just the day after felt a little bit weak.
Right.
So it was more the fact that, well, if I can get through the game,
Yeah.
I'll take a week recovery and not go and train. And obviously, it was just. But going back to your point on the 4G thing as well, I don't think it helps. 1 week you're on 4G, 1 week you're on craft.
No.
Changing in temperature, just everything doesn't help. So your body never gets used to one sort of surface. And the way
No, like the 4G is brilliant for obviously it being flat.
Yeah.
You can play a game on it in whatever weather, unless it's frozen. But in terms of like injuries, you can't fly tackle on it because you end up sticking to your bed sheets that night. So you've got to cut all the way up your leg.
Yeah.
That's so painful.
Yeah.
You've obviously got the twisting aspect of it. Like with our football team, I think there must be 10 of us that have been on knees now. And I'm not saying they're necessarily just from the 4G, but quite a lot of them have been since we played on 4G.
We're one of the teams that consistently play on 4G.
Yeah.
And we probably got the, if not worst,
knee record.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Join us as a 50 chance.
We could create our own ACL recovery team.
We actually could.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is mad. But I think you're seeing it even more now in the modern game.
Yeah. I actually noticed this season.
Yeah.
So many players are getting ACL injuries, and it's a bit weird.
It is. It's strange. Because was it last season? It was the women's game that it was on.
Yeah.
Mega Rise, and there was loads.
They said because the women, they said the reason behind that is they naturally have more flexible joints anyway. So they were thinking that was the issue, but now you're seeing a lot more of it in the men's game, especially I've noticed it this season.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? Carb Halford Rounders got an ACL. I have another one.
Players just done it, Drago stitch, something like that.
There's loads. Knocking it. It's a bit. No, they don't even play on 4G either. No. Those pictures are solid.
Yeah.
So that can't be helping anything.
No, 100%.
There's something that definitely really needs to build in some sense because it's a hard ligament to tear in the first place. You've got to put
rehab. Yeah, and the rehab, then you're out for so long.
Oh, you're talking 9 to 12 months, really.
Yeah, even with full rehab.
Yeah,
it is, and it's a tough injury to come back from.
Well, with that being said, then obviously a lot of people struggle with setbacks. Was there any sort of moment that you doubted that you'd be able to ever get back to full fitness?
I'd like to say no, but there was definitely stages where I would be in the physio room and I'd just done sort of. It was me. I'd always been bodybuilding, weightlifting type stuff. Coming back to rehab, it was then changing up to the Bosu ball and doing the balance stuff.
Mad, that's you like
yeah, even my strong leg was struggling with.
Yeah.
So it was only when I got into the sort of plyometric stuff that I started to go, actually, I'm still several months back because I'd never done it before.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. So, like, with the bodybuilding stuff, you're strong in one sort of in motion, really. Like a bicep curl, you're strong doing motion.
Yeah.
As soon as you need to go that way or that way, there's weaknesses.
That's it.
With that boss, you don't know how like an idiot.
It's my legs shaking. It is, man.
I was doing, man, I was in a JD gym, and this was like at work, peak gym time. Like, I'm talking 5, 6 o'clock, ram. Yeah, I'm setting up this massive space for me to bounce on a post ball, and then jump off and land on one leg. And
I want to tell people I'm injured because I reckon I'm just shaking. And
I've been doing that now in the gym. So when I go on the leg press, I get a little bit of pain in this knee, which is one of the reasons why I'm trying to force an MRI.
Yeah,
and I purposely, because I've not got much weight on it, I can see people can rather only got like 60, 70 kilos on single leg.
Yeah,
people are looking at me going with it, and then so. It was like,
no, I feel like sometimes when a knee strap on,
I kick my leg out a little bit and go,
that arm's getting
yeah.
I've got an injury.
So everyone
knows. Yeah. But no, that was probably it, because I can't remember the exact time. Let's say I was about 8, 9 months back into recovery there, and the strength is on one of the first bits you get, and you aim for targets of 1.5 body weight on leg press and all that sort of stuff, and then got that pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like I managed to build that up pretty quick. So then the next stage was obviously plyometric. and it's box jumping on one leg or hopping 3 times forward, and it was the balancing. So I was sometimes able to reach good lengths with me on the bad leg, but it was then standing and holding it.
Yeah.
And he said we need to get rid of that shaking before we can get you back and doing drills for football. And it was only at that point that he said to me, it's going to take several weeks. I got to the several week mark and didn't really feel like I was progressing as quickly as I would have liked to, because I progressed quickly on everything else, but not that. So then that was to me when I was going, damn, I could struggle here, because if I can't get back to a point where I can jump the same height with both legs, then I'm not going to be able to play football. I'm not going to be able to jump as high as I used to, or am I just going to be one of those players now that sort of has to labour through a game a little bit? And because my stuff for football has always been fit, healthy, sprinting, chasing down everything. Like an idiot. Well, I'm classed as a rock one. That's what I was sort of doing, chasing, harrying people down like an idiot most of the time. But so if I wasn't able to do that, it takes away a big part of my game. And when that alongside the parametric, I was like, right, I'm really going to struggle here. But fortunately, it took me a little bit longer than I anticipated, put more time and effort into that sort of stuff, and took a step back from the the bodybuilding type stuff, and focused on the parametric stuff to be able to turn it around. And that was a big turning point for me.
I think most of the rehab process is just mental. With us too, we go to the gym anyway, so going to the gym to do rehab sessions is essentially bodybuilding workouts, really.
Yeah.
More specific to your injury. The mental side of it's just very ongoing, and seeing like maybe a small piece of progress in the tough bit. Whereas, like you were saying, you were progressing really quick down some things, which is the easiest stuff, just lifting more weight each time.
Yeah.
And the more skillful activities are, take that bit more time to progress, and they are difficult. For me, we started on the boxing goal, just literally balancing one leg.
Yeah.
First, I was shaking like a shaking dog.
100%. That's it.
And then you go, right, now move to flight squat or an RDL on a boxing ball.
Yeah.
And then it was moving to a front jump and landing the jump. So at first, you jump, you carry on going forward.
That's it.
And then it literally progressed like a sideward jump and a forward jump, and then I landed.
How odd does it feel doing those?
Oh, you look
yeah,
you've
just did from side to side. You've always just been about. Just feels a bit mad.
Yeah, I had so many looks in JD.
Yeah, I can imagine. One of the worst things for me, doing stuff in the gym, being able to hit targets, being able to do the jump, land, hold it, and then go into physio, and he goes, right, prove it. And then I couldn't. I don't know where it was pressure, but he was like, without falling over. I do not, I'll get it in a minute. And he's like, you've done it 50 times now. Let's keep something else. And that was hard. I was seeing it. So it is insane. Easy.
Yeah, but it's in the landing. With my physio, so I was in some Wilmslow, and around that was a 2 meter running track. So we were at the start of this running track, and he said, right, I want to see how far I can get. So not only do you have to land, you have to get as far as, and obviously far as means as much momentum as possible. So you've got to stay that, and I think must have got 15 at that. And stuff. I didn't take one to begin with, and that was the famous.
I think the first time I felt like gymnastics in the Olympics, I seen it and I went, yes, I've done it. I was waiting because I was like, it really. So I was just landing, absolutely made up. When I was doing the thing, in the first part, I didn't ever try and do too much. You just time.
I'm like, right, this is
it.
Yeah.
You never learn over. No. So it just takes time. It takes me time. But for me and you, and it's our thing we're focusing on.
Yeah.
Straight. Yeah.
And also with I've got to try and step over 100 kilos.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
yeah, it is. It is. I haven't got trouble to review, but I get what
It's difficult. But so, when you obviously get fully fit, and I remember we went for a walk, and one of the time something having a doing some sort of fit challenge, but we didn't really know what to do.
Yeah.
So, what exactly made you decide to do something as extreme as a marathon? Just seriously.
Well, I think so. For me, it's from 4 months post-op. I've done that Stone Trail walk where we raised cancer research, and that was 36 miles. Granted, I finished an hour and a bit after everyone else, and I was left on my own, dehydrated and struggling with minimal battery. But once I'd done that, that was one of the toughest things I'd say I've done, because I was 4 months post-op.
Yeah.
I'd done no running at that point, no cycling, no nothing other than body weight exercise and bodybuilding. So to then go and walk 36 miles through forest and stuff like that, physio wasn't too happy. I'll put that out there.
Imagine.
He wasn't too happy, but he was made up once I'd done it. So once I'd finished that, it was like a, wow, I proved to myself that I'm meant to get through that, do it. I got, obviously, a couple of months after that, I'd done the rehab ACL and felt all forward. Friend of mine, you could see, that why I did the run was had issues with her left side after she gave birth to her son, Thomas. And she was almost like she didn't quite have the feeling in parts of the left hand side of her body. So she went to the doctors and they said, oh, if you haven't got the feeling, that's normal. You've not long give birth. It'll pass over time. So we was all like, okay, we can go off what the doctors say. And then day where she lost the vision slightly in her left eye, and it all went blurry and stuff. And as you can imagine, I can't imagine, but that must have been so scary to lose your vision for a little while. So she went to Specsavers at that point, because doctors again weren't quite as helpful. And when she went to Specsavers, they sent her straight to A&E. And basically, it's seen this really commonly in young women who had given birth, and it turns out she had MS. So that's where the sort of stemmed of, I need to do something fitness related. I need to do charity, because for me, seeing a friend go through something like that, you can be that supportive friend of, I'm here to talk to, if there's anything you need, stuff like that, but you still feel a bit helpless.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not exactly anything you can physically do.
No, can't fix or cure anything. So my way of doing something is, well, let's raise some money for charity.
Yeah.
So I was floating a few ideas. We'd obviously spoke about a few sort of things, because we talked about obviously different sort of things abroad and Hyrox and all those sort of things. But I'm a little bit wired a bit differently sometimes. And I wanted to do something that initially I said, anything that I say to my family, and they went, "You're mad. Why would you do that?" was something that I want to do. Or something that the average person, oh, what you doing that for? That's a bit ridiculous. So I'd obviously done the walk 36 miles. So I thought, well, why can't I do something longer than that? If I can do that, I can do something longer. So that's when I decided that I was going to do a 50-mile run. And told my family, and they're like, it's just ludicrous. It's hard because you do 50 miles and it doesn't sound dead far, but if you pick two places somewhere that people know, they go, wow, you're running that?
For a lot of people, they're running 5K Staunton.
Yeah.
Which is what, 3 miles, and you're talking almost 20 times nearly.
Yeah, that's it. So I picked 50 miles, and then I thought, I can't do 50 miles because a marathon's 26, 2, 3. May as well do it double one, because I know I'm annoyed everything doing it.
That's probably, 2 miles?
2 miles. So that's what I picked to do for charity. And then once I said it, I was like, right, I'll do it. Yeah. And then that's when the ADHD turned in on. Said, no, I've got something to focus on and stick to. And yeah, that's how I came to the decision of doing that. And I also thought it'd be a good way of proving to myself that my body's capable of doing. difficult thing.
Most people are a bit out of reach and you're only for their double after.
Yeah.
How long after the surgery was it?
Just 18 months. Yeah. I hadn't actually, I think I played a couple of games, footy, just over 12 months after my surgery.
I remember and running to people like you usually do.
Yeah, and I think I ended up running into all at one point or something like that. So, yeah, it wasn't great. For me then, that was one, it was like, playing footy.
Yeah.
And then that whole thing with my friend that got diagnosed with them, do something for charity, and that all sort of stemmed from.
So was that your main training for double marathon?
100%.
Is there anything else other than money for charity, friend, or was there other things that you said about seeing what your body and telling yourself that that was like your back, basically?
Yeah, it was as well. For me, I've always seen myself mentally, and that walk tested me because the last 4 hours I was on people, I was struggling, but I didn't stop. I didn't give up. You've done really well through that. A bit of difficulty, of effort. So let's try and push it to the next level. If you'd have had to 14, 15, 16 miles on top of that, where's your mind going to go with that? So all the time I'm training, I was telling myself, you're getting better. Let's focus on getting better, being a fitter individual, all that sort of stuff. And one of the main motivations as well was the fact that only 12 months ago I couldn't even walk.
Yeah.
Couldn't even walk.
Some turnaround.
Yeah, and now I'm out running and enjoying myself. You know what I mean? I was enjoying the runs. I was thinking through everything that had gone on, maybe at work that week or stuff I wanted to do in the future, setting goals and stuff like that. And motivation for me was it really helped in clearing my mind, proving to myself that I can do anything that I put my mind to as well. Definitely.
So with that then, were there any sort of specific habits or routines or mental tricks you used to stay disciplined to that end goal throughout? How long was the training process for it?
So I did 5 months worth of training.
Some people train a whole year to do one.
Yeah. The plan I'd bought, so I spoke to a guy. He said, I've got a 6-month plan, but you need to be able to run marathon already under 4 hours.
Jeez. Right.
And I said, or you can have a plan for the same. My plan was for a 100-kilometer run, which is around about 66 miles.
Yeah.
He said, you need to be at marathon 4 hours and then we'd work from that. Or you can buy 12 to 18 month plan, starting from beginner. I've never run a marathon before this.
You went with that plan, didn't you?
I went with the 6-month plan and then asked if it was going into 5 months. So I wanted to make sure that I could finish in the light and it wasn't too cold and stuff like that. And I'd already said I was doing it. I'd already picked a date.
Yeah.
I was like, right, I've got to do it now. So I went with that plan.
Made your bed, got a lie in it.
Exactly. But when we set ourselves goals,
yeah,
I'm going to do everything in my power to get there. So for me, having the right structure, plan, was paramount to that. Was just making sure I knew that week what my training was, what I needed to hit, and then everything around that. So how I was gonna meet that. So making sure that my food was on point, planning my supplements was on point, making sure that it was vitamins, making sure that I was well enough to do it, not coming down with some bug and stuff like that. So for me, buying a whiteboard and planning my week out was paramount to getting everything in a good position and giving myself the best sort of motivation. And I think also working from home massively helped. But I also loved my weekends. Obviously, some of my runs were 3, 4, 5 hours, both for Saturday and for Sunday. So I love getting up early. You know, I train first thing in the morning. So sometimes I was out running at 5 o'clock.
I remember you sending me Strava, and it was like a 4-hour run on a Saturday morning.
And that was it. And I'd done it before my partner had even woke up.
Yeah.
So that we could spend the day together. And so they didn't, because I knew it was going to take over my life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I needed to try and plan it in so that it didn't take over too much to the point where I couldn't then do this again.
Wait.
I did have to try and do a bit of training on some of the holidays as well, so I struggled with that. But
So other than buying that plan, did you get any help or advice throughout that, or was it mainly sort of you just making the plan?
just basically, that was it. I bought a plan. I restructured it to my
Was that just a running plan, or did that include nutrition as well? Or...
No.
So that was literally
just the plan. That was just the plan, and it was a plan that was built for 6 months. And that plan is just one that you buy, doesn't get altered for you as an individual. So I often change it a little bit for myself. The nutrition side, I'm not a nutritionist, but I think I know my body so very well from years of bodybuilding, putting and shredding and then bulk, that. So I knew it worked quite well for my body. And then I just YouTube.
Yeah.
I learned what people were doing, marathon runners, how they did their sort of nutrition through running, but also through the weeks and making sure that the calories are on point and carbs and stuff. And then a lot of the training is not only training to run, it's training your gut, training to eat the right foods, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And one of the reasons I signed up to the run was because I was then allowed to eat basically whatever I wanted. I was expecting to lose weight. I didn't. I was obviously eating enough. But yeah, it was a lot of learning off what they did and then testing it throughout the training, which was fun, but some of them were a little bit more difficult than others when you was trialing something new and it didn't quite work.
So how many calories were you on then? Because I've floated the idea of going back to rowing just so I can eat more calories. So like, I used to train 9 times a week.
Yeah.
I'd easily clear 5,000-6,000 calories.
Yeah.
At the time I was probably a good, well, talking 3 stone lighter probably.
Right.
Literally no body fat.
Yeah.
Well, obviously there was, but like...
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. So my standard daily rate, normally, maintenance is around about 2,700. When I was throughout the week, I'd be closer to around about 4,000 because I was training 6 days a week. Weekend was getting close to 5,000-6,000. It was, yeah, it was just because it was always in a calorie surplus.
Yeah.
Always. Because not only wasn't about putting weight on, it was just making sure that my body was fueled, but also then it was fueled after that to recover.
If you're not fueling yourself, you're just going to yourself. And with this type of runs you're doing, if you're like not fueled halfway through one of those big long runs, it's going to be a long walk home.
That's it.
You've got to stop.
That's it.
And then also, if you are potentially losing weight throughout that, the risk of injury starts coming in. So you probably better off, like you say, eating in that flight circle. So even if you do a little bit of weight on it, it's not necessarily going to affect you.
Yeah.
Long run.
That was the hardest thing. I was honestly expected to turn into a body board sort of runner, and it just didn't happen. Yeah, everyone when we was getting closer and closer to the day of actually running, people were going, "I thought you'd be a bit skinny. don't marathon runners." Yeah. And I'm going, "Yeah, but I'm doing all right." They
haven't got a nice.
Yeah. I was just enjoying myself, and it was an excuse to a lot of healthy food, but get away then with eating some crappy foods when I needed to. Yeah, mentally, that was nice. Yeah.
So, comes to the day of the double marathon, you're on the start line. What's going through your mind? Was there any doubt? What was the thoughts?
I was shattered.
Good start.
Yeah, I was really tired because I think the whole nerves the night before, staying in a new place I'd never stayed in before, obviously booked an Airbnb the night before. I'd ate a lot the day before, woke up in the middle of the night and needed the toilet. Wasn't a great toilet experience. So then I was already nervous through the night. So then I'm overthinking when I'm in bed then, struggling to get back to sleep. So I think I only had about 3.5 hours sleep the night before.
Not what you want.
No, not at all. So I was tired when I got onto the start line. And then once I'd had a little chat with John, the lad that that helped me throughout it, and was my sort of driving alongside doing the aid station. And I realised again, he said, remember why you're doing this.
Yep.
It's not about doing it in any sort of speed. It's about getting it done. You've done the training now.
The important thing as well that people need to understand is this wasn't an actual planned race, was it? This is just off your own back.
Yeah.
So you're not on like a start line.
Yeah.
100 other people there ready to do the same thing. It was just you
It was just
in the middle of Blackpool.
Yeah. And you realise as well when we was thinking about this not long ago, if John had experienced any issues, car breaks down, flat tyre,
Yeah,
we'd have been struggling. Because it was a Friday, and I can't remember why I picked Friday.
Yep.
It was a Friday, so a lot of people were in work as well. So I was, it was the whole point of self-organised, picked a route myself, I'd mapped all the route out myself, so it wasn't an organised event. The aid stations were just my mate and the boot of his car with everything I'd bought, from a new deodorant to loads of ice packs to just loads of food in the boot of the car, and no real sort of structure of what we was going to do at each aid station, just try and replenish and see how I felt and go from there. So
I think you can't over sort of plan some of these things. You've got to go off feeling. It's like I've done a rowing marathon, so that was longer than an actual marathon. It was like 40 miles or something like that, I think, and or 40k. I don't know. It's one of the two. It's long, put it that way. And we tried to plan when we were going to start, what we were going to eat, what we were going to drink, and they just go out the window. Like, you just got to go on pure feeling.
That's it. And it was hard at times because I'd have an aid station when I felt good, so I'd have to stop. And only because we planned aid station, picked spaces where there was a toilet and maybe buy something to eat or something like that. But on the day, that was a little bit difficult,
right,
stopping and starting and stuff like that. So, whereas I know there's certain races where they've got it so my aid stations were 10 miles, so I had 4 stops. Whereas I know that there's some races, they have them every sort of 5 miles. So you don't have to stop, but you've got the option. And you know that your next stop isn't that far away. It's maybe an hour away. Yes, that's it. Whereas I knew there was quite big distance, 10 miles from me, and the pace I was going was quite a long time. So that was the battle. But yeah, no, we didn't have loads of structure. We tried to plan as much as we can, and then we had backups for certain things. But yeah, it was all a self-organised thing. So it was just, let's see how we get on.
Chaos.
Yeah. And I can run, and I knew I wasn't going to give up. I just had to keep going. That was all it was.
So with that then, what were the highs and what were the lows throughout the actual run? And was there a moment where you thought that you might not make the finish line?
Yeah, so I'll start with maybe some of the lows. I think some of the lows were maybe halfway through was about a 7 mile, let's say halfway through. I think I was at the 32-mile mark point, and then the 7 miles through fields, and it was wet and damp, and my running trainers were brilliant from road, but they were terrible on the grass. So every time I was trying to jog, my leg would slip outwards or slip forwards, or I'd be running forwards and it'd flip, so just didn't move that much.
Do they not have tread on them? Because my hoppers are the same. No. I can walk into the gym and I will flip.
Yeah.
Walking into the gym.
That's it. That's exactly what it was like. So that sapped so much energy out of me. So that stretch was so tough, because it took so much out of me. It took me a lot longer than I'd anticipated. It was difficult. And then the last 10 miles, my non-operated leg, my left leg, my knee was really starting to give me issues. So anytime I'd slow down or stop it, it'd seize up. And I think it's more because probably throughout my training, without even realising, I probably compensate knowing that this is my bad leg. So I put a lot of weight and effort into the other leg. So that means that battered consistently. So that after the 40-mile mark started to seize up and really started to give me trouble. High points though were I was well ahead of schedule at the start. My missus actually rung me up and said, "You need to slow down, otherwise you're going to finish too early and there'll be no one at the pub."
Getting
Yeah, yeah,
carried away.
carried away. So I had to slow down at that point, which is probably a bad thing for me actually, because slowing down,
You can get like out of a rhythm with your running.
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
I find it really tough. Like, I don't run that much, but if I can't run slow, it doesn't work for me. I put too much weight, I don't know, like directly downwards, because you're chopping up your strides, don't you? So you're constantly on top of your feet. I find that, like, I've only done a half marathon, but I was far too heavy and didn't train enough for that. But I noticed that, like, trying to run slower than I would maybe run for a 5K, I'm way more comfortable running quicker.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So it was the Ellis, slow down a little bit, otherwise you'll finish a bit too early and there'll be no one at the pub to see you come back. So it's like, I don't know. So I slowed down a bit. Then I slowed down for about 5 miles, and then was the field section. So that slowed me down quite a lot.
Yeah.
I probably, if I'd have known how bad the fields were, I probably wouldn't have slowed down for that 5 miles, and then I would have been all right for that 7 miles. So that was tough. But up to that point, if you'd have said to me at the 30, 31 mile mark, you're done, I'd have gone, wow, that was so easy. Because I'd done that in training runs.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that would have been so easy. So that was good. I saw Chloe at just as I got out of that field section, about the 38 mile mark.
Mm-hmm.
I seen some lady in an orange top, because obviously the MS Society top, jumping up and down and shouting the name, and I cried my eyes out. Absolutely cried my eyes out. I think it was because I struggled for that 8 miles. I was like, this is that for me. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. I'd been feeling good 5 miles before. All of a sudden, in the space of half an hour, I'd gone from, I'm going to finish this so easy, to, I'm going to struggle now. Everything's hurting.
Make this hard for myself and walk a field.
Yeah. Well, I didn't cut that bit out. Yeah.
Should have stayed on the road.
Yeah, exactly. And when I saw Chloe, that just gave me that absolute massive boost that I needed. I'm not crying. Once I'd seen her and spoke to her for a bit and we'd had a bit of a chat, just little words and little things that some people say to you, sometimes they don't realise the impact it has. But some of those words of encouragement and stuff like that was mega, and it just pushed me through then. And then Jay Bowman met me from the 40 mile mark, well, 35 mile mark to like the 40 mile mark. And that was, again, another stint that I was struggling a little bit. But again, just having that person behind me, knowing that I could really stop because there was someone behind me, I almost treated it as if Jay was chasing me.
Yeah.
Just to say, right, I've got to keep going because Jay's watching me. Can't give up. That sort of stuff. And just the end was, I didn't really expect any people because it was a Friday and doing charity and stuff like that. But I think there was about 30, 40 people at the pub at the end. So to see everyone there was amazing. It was just brilliant. It was just an all round amazing thing that I don't think I'll ever forget. Being able to say I've done that, and then people there to support was amazing.
Definitely want to add to the CV.
That's it. And I hated having a tattoo for it.
Maybe if you can design your own one.
That's it. That's it. But then I obviously would like to do further challenges in the future, and I could end up having a sleeve of challenges if that was the case. So
From after.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, no, it was just that whole day was fantastic. It was tough at times, but it was, for me, it was just the whole win was the battle and being able to say I've done it and getting it done.
So you said your left knee was causing you grief?
Yeah.
Which was your non-operated one?
Yeah.
How was your operated one? Was that fine? Did you feel like you were pushing it?
No.
It was absolutely perfect. It's fully back.
Yeah. That was it. I think for me, mentally I was telling myself that I was going to get issues with it. You can feel it at some point. So just keep pushing through and you'll be fine and stuff like that. And it never really came.
Right.
It was this side. And whether I didn't really feel it because I was feeling more pain in this side or what, I don't know. Or maybe it was because the rehab had been so good and focused on this side that it had really worked. I don't know. But no, I never really got any issues with this side. I didn't even finish with any blisters or anything like that because of the training and effort I'd put into. So I think some of my training especially those double sessions on a weekend. What I should say as well is on a Friday would be my boot camp style training, where
So
I do some body sort of bodybuilding type exercises, followed then by a almost like a boot camp style workout
session.
HIIT session. Then I'd follow it up with an 8-mile run. So I'd be in the gym in the morning on a Friday for a good 2.5 hours. Again, that looked really quite funny when I'm taking me on picnic boxing and I'm eating snacks and stuff throughout the gym session at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. All of that. Then on the Saturday, I might do a 4-hour run. Sunday'd be a 3-hour run. That's the only time would be when my knee, right side, would be a little bit achy on a Monday. So that's when I take my relaxation day and recover, make sure I was eating enough, just doing all the sort of stretches and stuff like that. I think so. All of that throughout training, I'd done more so on my right side had really helped, but I'd probably neglected my left side a little bit, which is potentially why I had those issues. So I never really had any issues on the right side. Yeah. And like I said, I think I'd put that all down to the rehab, following the rehab.
If you do a proper rehab, then it can get near enough back to normal. Like, I've not had mine operated on, and that time I did that rehab with my physio, strongest my legs have ever been.
Yeah. That was one thing I was thinking about the other night is, I wonder, well, I don't know whether you've got any opinions on it, why more footballers aren't inclined to not get the surgery.
I don't know. When I've been to see my consultant about mine, he said most of them don't. I don't know why though, but I got told I could go down the rehab route was because of my hamstrings already compensating for the ACL. They said you've got big, like large muscle mass there anyway.
Yeah.
I'm willing to put you down a rehab route.
Yeah.
I don't know whether if they're whether they have that same opinion.
Yeah.
Really not sure what
just because
maybe it's the length of the rehab.
Yeah.
Because I did a proper full rehab and that was 4 or 5 months. So that halves the time that a football.
That's what I mean, because footballers have got such a short sort of span at football that to take out 12 to 18 months is massive.
Oh, yeah, especially say if a World Cup or a Euros is coming up.
Exactly. And I really did sway between yes and no for the operation, only because I'd seen you. I think if I hadn't seen you the way you'd done your rehab and you returned to football, I'd have snapped the hand off, because every single surgeon told me, go for the surgery.
I've been told 3 times now to go down rehab routes.
Yeah.
I said, if I was to go back to playing football now, I think I would opt for an operation.
Yeah.
Because I keep coming up with these little niggles. Like, I'm fine for 6 months, I get back into it, I'm enjoying it. And then it's not even that someone's like snapped me in a tackle. It's literally turning.
It's the worst
It's
thing.
literally just a thing. That's all that happened in October. Literally, the ball was coming towards me. A lad was closing me down. And I've touched the ball to the left, and my knees just caved in.
Yeah.
I heard this crunch, and yeah, I was like, it's done again.
Yeah. I think that's one of the mentally hard things as well, is sometimes if it was a tackle, you can go,
fair enough, it happened in football.
Yeah. And the fact that my body's taking a big impact there.
Yeah.
But when it's just turning, you're like...
Another time, I jumped up for a header, I flicked it on, and as I've landed, I've then gone to the left again, and it's gone in on me again. And it's like, it's not even like I'm being tackled.
No.
Like, no one's at me.
No.
So I can get back to like full fitness and back playing, and then literally turn and done in again.
That's it.
So
is
I'm umming and ahhing now about what to do. Well, I'm going to see what comes of the MRI. If it's significantly worse than previously, then I said to my brother the other day, I might get the full work done sort of thing, because there's other issues than just my ACL in there. Like, I've got, it's called chondropathy. I've got grade 3/4. That was 3 years ago. Chondropathy is the wearing away of the joint, and it goes to grade 4. I have 3/4, and this was in 2022. So I'm like, I'm 29 in March. I've got to live for the rest of my life with this knee. Like, I've got potentially, if I'm lucky, 60 years.
Yeah.
Like 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
It's not going to get any better.
No.
So I'm like, I've always joked saying, like, at some point I'm going to need a brand new knee.
Yeah.
And like, the more I think about it, it's like, there's actually a chance that I might need a fully like mechanical knee
Yeah.
if I don't sort
If
something
you
out.
don't do it now, that's it. And we've obviously got a friend who's had their ACL.
We've got many friends.
Yeah, ruptured ACL, but not had the operation, not gone down the rehab route, just living life with it. Who has asked me multiple occasions around, should I get it done? I would only recommend people get it done is if they can stick to the rehab program.
That's most people's issues.
Yeah.
Because mentally stick to it.
Yeah.
You've got to commit 9 to 12 months of your life to literally, like I was doing 3 days a week, the exact same leg workout, and it is mind-numbingly boring.
I'd even put it down to those first couple of months.
Yeah.
Because I was so fortunate that I was working from home. Because I was sat at my desk on the floor on a call, wireless headset on, but doing exercises, movements, changing and stuff like that. Whereas I've got friends who want to get it done, but they work on site.
Yeah.
Or they know that they can't take
gym 2-3 times a week.
They're not going to be, they've got families and stuff like that, and they're not going to be able to afford to spend a couple of hours in the gym and do the rehab stuff. They're going to, and I've known from speaking to my doctor and surgeons that they've had people who get the surgery done who are now in a worse position. They've got no flexibility at all in the knees because of not doing the rehab.
Yeah, because it can lock up and you can reduce the range of motion if you don't clean it. I'm going to see what the MRI and go from there. Like, the worst thing is, mate, get back with hospitals and needles and stuff. Absolutely.
It was my favourite bit.
I know that.
It was my favourite bit.
Last one, you shut up for a little bit.
I was like, we're down again. I get that, and I get the worry and stuff like that, but you'd probably be at the same sort of place that I would go.
Oh yeah, a big private.
Yeah. So
it'd be through like or something.
Yeah. And it was absolutely top notch and faulty.
Did you have an epidural?
No.
See, I know a lad had an epidural, and this probably put me off as well. So the epidurals obviously me from down. They apparently, I don't know, it depends on the doctor. Some of them get it, some of them don't. After the operation, they basically give you a load of water because they need to make sure everything still works. So they want you to go to the toilet so you can.
So I had that. I had an issue going away after it. So, but I don't remember having an epidural.
They might have given you while you were asleep.
They might have.
That. So he said he could not feel anything. And then they were giving him more and more water. And it got to the point where his stomach was out here. He was in pain because of how much water was in his bladder. They did a scan on his stomach. There was 1.5 liters of water in his bladder, which apparently is a lot.
So I had exactly the same thing.
You had to get a catheter.
So I got threatened with a catheter to the point where I said, I am not having that. They were like, right, you need to go through away in the next few hours. Otherwise, that's our only option.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether I did. I don't think I did, but
he was one side, and I was put off by.
Yeah.
That sounds worse.
Oh, 100%. 100%. 99 people are fine. I think it's just the odd occasion.
Yeah.
At one point, I was trying so hard to go for a wee, and I was sat up, tried to sort of kneel up, and then I went, need to be stood up. So I had 2 nurses basically holding me up. Oh, I'm trying to go in. I'm going off. Got stage fright. I can't do it. I got to do it. This laughing. So can you not just leave me? Stood up, and then I eventually went for a wee, and it was unbelievable feeling. I've been trying for so long. That whole experience of scanning you, going, yeah, you need to go to the toilet now, otherwise we're going to have to do a bit of catheter. We won't be able to let you go and stuff like that. But I wouldn't worry about that. It's not the end of the world.
Stuff like
that.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
But just going back to the double marathon then, what was the first thing you felt when you finally crossed the finish line got to the pub?
Yeah.
Was it relief? Exhaustion?
No, finish line. It was not many ultra marathoners finishing on the pint and swig a Guinness.
Yeah.
To finish, which looking back now wasn't the best idea. I don't know. I stopped and it was relief. It was relief. Done it. Because like I say, up until the 42-mile mark, I was flying. Felt fine. And then all of that feeling took it out on me. And then the issue with my knee, and stuff like that, I was really starting to struggle. So once I got it done, I was like, wow, it was the relief. And I don't remember too much other than just thanking everyone and chatting around and chatting to people and people asking me questions. But a couple of people had mentioned you actually look all right. Was expecting you to look worse, and I was like, yeah, I feel okay now. But it was just that relief I've done what I set out to achieve. And some people had said, I don't think you'll be able to do that, or you're crazy for doing that. So then to turn around and go, I did it.
Put your middle finger up on.
Yeah, basically just blocking out them haters. So that was it. It was a good feeling to get it done. And I think once I'd finished, it was like, it was just that sense of, wow, I'm glad I did that.
Just going back to swigging the pints, it must have been the worst post-cycle ultra marathon thing that you could have done.
Yeah. So when I'd obviously joined a couple of like ultra marathon runners groups. I'd done all that thing where I'd thrown myself into it, and I spoke to a fair few people and asked questions, and a lot of them say, stay on your feet for 15, 20 minutes, eat, drink, replenish, and then sit down, lie down with your feet in the air, and make sure you get that recovery time in pretty quick after. Me being me.
Straight on the pints.
Yeah, I had 2 pints, half of the protein shake that I'd made, and then was on my feet for around about 2.5 hours once I'd finished. So throughout the day, I was probably close to 15 hours, with obviously a big stint of that being running, and then the morning. Yeah, it wasn't the best idea. Post-run wasn't great, but you live and you learn from next time. I just need to make sure I eat and drink.
And you was it passed out twice at the pub?
Once.
Once.
Yeah.
Once.
Second time was all right. Yeah. So it was weird because it was like I say, I was up chatting to everyone, spoke to everyone. Yeah. I felt really good. I was even ordering food and drinks and hadn't got them yet. And then when they'd all arrived, as soon as I sat down,
right,
I went, wow, I'm going to pass out. And I don't know whether it's because the blood had rushed round or what. But as soon as I sat down, I went, wow, I'm going to pass out.
I imagine it's some sort of lactic shock or something.
It's got to be. Yeah. It's got to be something like that. But
you ended up in A&E as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so I passed out once, and then someone called paramedic. I think it was because I passed out with my eyes open.
I remember people shouting around going, does anyone know CPR? I was like, shit, what's going on?
For me, and you obviously know from training and stuff like that, yeah. I know why I passed out.
Yeah, it's exhaustion.
Exhaustion, but not eating and drinking after I finished.
Yeah.
I'd say for the last 3 hours of that run, I didn't eat or drink properly either because I just couldn't stop food at that point.
Yeah, I used to be like that. So when I do a rowing race, on some of the events, be a 2K row, which is obviously not 50 miles, but you'd have to do multiple throughout the day.
Yeah.
And a 2K row it's not a sprint distance, but it is a sprint race.
Yeah.
And I would never be able to eat after them.
No.
But I knew I had the race in half an hour. So all the parents would be trying to get feed.
Yeah.
And you just like, no.
Yeah.
Like they give me, those brownie bites.
Yeah.
It would take me half an hour to eat one of them.
Yeah.
Like it was that bad.
That's it.
So God knows how you were feeling that like.
Like I say, for the last 3 hours of that run, I didn't really eat because I couldn't stomach anything.
Yeah.
I knew where I was and I knew how close I was to the finish. So I was just going to push through those barriers, whatever they may be. Then when I got to the end, I'm just not hungry.
No, it's a weird feeling, isn't it? Like it's hard to explain, but your body needs it.
Yeah.
But there's no inclination to eat at all.
No. So I know why I passed out because I didn't eat. I didn't fuel properly for the last few hours and stuff like that. So I passed out from that. And then once I come back round, I felt all right. And then about 20 minutes later, just sort of felt a bit fusy a bit. So I just got on the floor because I was like, I may as well get the blood back going. By that point, I was like, right, I think at this point it was about 9:30 and I finished at 6. So I'd been, like I said, I'd been out for God knows how long. So I was like, right, I'm going to go home. Got home and then the paramedics turned up and they were obviously taking the mick and stuff like that. But I was trying to make jokes to them to show that I'm all right. But someone had told them I passed out twice.
Right.
For a minute each time.
A minute?
Yeah. which I hadn't.
It
Yeah,
definitely wasn't a
it
minute.
wasn't. So then they were instantly going, that's worrying.
Yeah.
A minute is a long time.
Yeah.
B, if you pass out twice, something not quite right there. Plus, then when they got to my house, the machine that they had to do an ECG wasn't quite working. So the readings were off a little bit.
Yeah. Exactly what you want.
Yeah. So I'm making jokes and stuff. She's shaving, this woman, this paramedic shaving little plants, doing little bits. And I went, you may as well do the rest of it. How much do you charge for the rest? But so she's doing little bits, we're having a laughing joke. And then they got an okay ECG reading and they said, doesn't quite look right. And I can't put that down to she or you. So on that basis, I would recommend that you go.
Better to be safe than sorry.
So I went, no, I don't really want to go. And then so then they spoke to my mum, Chloe and stuff. And then the other paramedic came back in and went, no, I think you need to go. So I went, right, okay, I'll go. So then got into A&E, got into hospital. They did an ECG within about 45 minutes. Went, ECG's fine. So instantly then I'm going, right, I'm fine. And they went, well, we just want to do some bloods to make sure you've not had a heart attack or something. And I'm like, I've definitely not had a heart attack because you'd feel it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You'd think anyway.
Yeah. So I was like, right, what's the crack now? And so they're like, right, we'll take your bloods and then we'll send it. Okay. Wait time. You're looking at around about 7-8 hours.
7-8 hours?
Yeah. Because
at this point, I imagine it's what, 10, 11 o'clock?
It's about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. We'd initially been told 4 hours. So initially we was told it was 4-hour wait. So I was like, right, okay. I'm thinking I'll have been up for over 24 hours, but let's just check. And then we got in there and then they took me off the bed and put me in the waiting room. Then some guy comes in with 2 police officers covered in blood. They found him in the middle of the road, thump of booze. He comes and sits right next to me.
Yeah.
So I went and spoke to the receptionist and went, how long's the wait now? And they went, 7-8 hours. So I went, right, I'll leave this. Because the only reason they got me to come into A&E was because the ECG wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
As soon as I get in there, the ECG was absolutely fine. They said, perfect. So they were only doing blood. So I was like, right, I'll go and get my bloods done another time. So I left. The day after, I was back out cycling. I felt absolutely fine. People were taking the mick. My body felt so good.
Yeah.
And I thought, when I woke up, I was honestly lay there going, I'm not going to be able to go. I thought, I'm going to struggle. Because after that walk, I couldn't walk for a good week after. So I was like, oh, God, I'm not going to be able to walk. And then when I got up and I felt fine, I was like, is this actually my body? I couldn't work it out. So to get up, walk around the house like nothing had happened was mental. Absolutely mental. So then
it shows how well you trained for it, though.
I think so, yeah. I think that was the massive thing. So then it got to like midday. I spoke to people on the phone and stuff like that. And then I was like, I may as well keep the blood going to help recovery.
Yeah.
So I just got my bike out and just did about 6 or 7 miles on the bike. And
Not too far.
No, I felt really good. Got home and like you wouldn't believe. So it was all good. But yeah, obviously if I was to look back now, I'd make sure that my nutrition was on point at the end more than anything. But a lot of people do it. Yeah, a lot of people do it differently. So I was eating every 15, 20 minutes during my run. And when I say eating, it was a gel or a Rice Krispies bar or a wrap. So I was eating basically consistently.
Yeah.
So for every 15, 20 minutes over an 11-hour period.
It's a lot of eating.
Yeah. And I was still in
times eating.
Yeah, I was still in the calorie deficit at that point. So that's how I trained and I felt all right. But obviously towards the end, I'd probably gone about 5 hours without eating, drinking properly. To then have 2 pints and be stood up walking around consistently for a good couple of hours all led to that. So a lesson learned is to make sure that I do actually replenish after I finish the next one.
Have you got any plans for it?
No, because if you ask me in front of Chloe, I'd say no.
Yeah.
I'd say no.
I'm sure she thinks there's something coming soon.
Yeah. Well, I've looked at other things. I would really like to do something again.
Yeah.
What that may be, I don't know. I don't know if to do like a bit of a trail run and do it shorter just to enjoy it. But then I'd also really think, like we've discussed, I'd love to do like a multi-day thing.
Yeah.
That'd be really good. And you see these people running marathons day after day. So I've just looked and think Edinburgh to my house is 211 miles walking. So I was thinking I could potentially do that over 5 days, 40 miles a day, 5 days in a row. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Does that mean I have to do it? No, I've said it on this. But the running one, absolutely love. I'd love to do a cycling one because we both know how good that is for your knees and recovery. But I know how expensive you can get. I could end up buying the full work.
Yeah.
Do one bike ride. Not one, obviously. I'd do the whole training, but one bike ride and never use it again because of whatever reason. But
Always sell the bike.
you could always sell the bike. I've looked at places. I think there's a friend of mine, John, who actually did the car and the aid stations with me and helped me plan it all. And he sent me a couple of things that he'd like to do where you can do certain islands and you can ride around the islands in a day or a couple of days. And I think that'd be more enjoyable. But
I've looked at a few. There's I think it's a 24-hour bike ride. It's tower to tower, so it's Blackpool Tower to Paris. It's the Eiffel Tower. That one looks pretty cool.
that'd be close. That'd be close.
But I spoke to you. It was funny you were saying before you wanted to do a challenge where your family said you're mad. I got told by ChatGPT that I was mad because I came up with a challenge which was the 100, I'm calling it. So it's a 100k bike, 100 tons lifted at 100 kilos.
Wow.
So my plan for that would be to do a 10k bike. This is all in the gym.
Yeah.
Go lift 10 tons and just do that 10 times.
Wow.
And ChatGPT turned around and went, "You're mental."
Yeah.
Like literally, why?
The battering in your body for that would be immense.
Yeah. So like I had a rough plan in my head of how I'd go about doing it, and it was like get as much volume through a leg press as possible, and it'd literally just be like. So back when I was rowing, we'd put 100 kilos on the leg press and just go for as many reps as we possibly could, and I'd usually do like 3 sets of 100 reps, which would cover quite a lot of weight,
100%.
and then try and get as much through other exercises.
Would that be the thing then? Do one exercise first, then do your run or your cycling, and change up the exercises and keep clicking between?
Probably, but I think my plan was to start on leg press for every single one. Just try and clear as much weight early doors, let my legs recover whilst I'm doing upper body stuff and get back on the bike.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
But yeah, well, I've obviously got to see what's happening.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's it. But the cycling and the leg press would be great for your rehab.
Yeah, exactly.
But
we'll see.
That's it.
So to round it off then, if you could go back and give yourself advice on day one of your recovery, what would you say?
If I was going through anyone, it'd just be along the lines of give it your all, stick with it. Don't feel. For me, I'd never want to come out of something and go, I could have done more. Because if I came out of that knowing that I could have done more, would have really frustrated me then, especially if I continued to have more issues. For me, it's just the advice would be give it your all, stick to it.
Don't half-ass it.
Don't half-ass it. Because you can cause yourself more, specifically for this, you can cause yourself more issues like we've discussed. So, yeah, that, and don't be afraid to eat more. Because I struggled. Yeah, we never really covered it. I struggled to eat a lot when I wasn't training. But as long as it's obviously not McDonald's and KFC and fast food and processed food, you do need to eat more. You need to be in a calorie surplus to make sure your body's fueling stuff to recover. Which a lot of people, the doctors don't tell you that. The doctors do the operation and then the physios just do the rehab work. They don't talk to you about nutrition or supplements and vitamins. Probably not.
Yeah, I've said this, like, especially if you're going through the NHS. I think the last podcast, the NHS are great for broad things, like your everyday stuff. But when it comes to knees and knee rehabs and stuff like that, they're very limited. Yeah, you might give them real to
yeah,
but after that, they're not really qualified in how to recover it properly.
That's it. And I did so many specialist ACL physios and rehabs and stuff like that. They're just very expensive.
Yeah.
but they're expensive for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they can get you back to a position where you can play football, because they go into training, nutrition, supplementation, and they check in with you all the time. That was one of the things for me is, obviously, you know that I like to talk a lot, and I ask you a lot of questions for someone going to the gym and stuff like that. With a physio from Bupa and stuff, I didn't have the number. I had an email. He never replied. So if I had questions, I had to wait for a week or 2 weeks, whereas these specialised people may give you the number and you can questions and stuff like that. Because it's a daunting time. You don't know whether you're doing the wrong things. And if you feel something, you don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, or you feel it. Because you know it yourself, the clicking.
Yeah.
Clicking is massive. And no one really told me about how much my knee would click when we through rehab. And it worried me at first. Because I was like, is that right? I always thought the clicking might be, I don't know, the A cell's not quite grafted right and it's against something, and it turns out that absolutely normal. And it happens a lot, and you're probably going to have it for a long time. It might never go, but it's normal. That week or so when I didn't know, it was really quite worried.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
It can be.
Yeah.
But Ellis, thank you for coming on.
No, thanks. No, really. Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Morris.
God, I could speak